Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. I'm Eric Allard, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, coming at you live, joined as I am each and every week by Her Majesty, Her Highness. Her hair looks great. Dawn Dantzler.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm finally glad to see, people are finally taking the time to spend as much time on their hair as I do. Sometimes I feel a little left out there, putting the time in, putting the energy in. Actually do a haircut about now. So have an appointment at the bathroom sink tomorrow morning. Should be good to go. Anyway, you look great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Well, hey, folks, look, we are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. It is Tilson Tuesday. It's 2 o'clock. We want you to very much jump in. Tell us where you're watching from, what part of the process you're in, where are you building, maybe why you're building there. We never asked that. Never asked why.
Yeah.
I mean, I ask why when it's one-on-one, but I don't ask why here. So we want to know where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. Why are you doing this? Why in the world would you want to build a house in the middle of nowhere when you could go buy one over here? I mean, you can't because it's not listed, but theoretically, you could go buy one over here and buy a used home that someone's lived in and their dog or pet's probably, made a mess in or something like that. You could go do that if you wanted to have a secondhand home, or you could build something new and beautiful exactly where you wanted to. I think I just spoiled the why. So tell us where you're building, what part of the process you're in, where you're watching from, why you're doing this. We want to hear from you. We are here to talk about all things building a home on your land. Obviously, is it safe to say the show is sponsored by Tilson Homes? Is that pretty safe to say?
I guess.
Pay us.
They pay us, yeah.
Okay, so yes, in essence, the show is sponsored by Tilson Homes. If we weren't doing this, we'd have to be doing like an Excel spreadsheet or something. So this is much better than that, at least for me. Maybe not for Dawn, but for me, this is way more fun. So glad you guys are here. Please jump in. Again, tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in, why you are doing this. We do have a very special actual content this particular time that we want to help you guys with, but we will answer every single one of your questions about construction, about design, about financing, about site preparation, permitting, soil testing, water wells, septic systems, all the things. If you got questions about where you are, are you just thinking about doing this? Have you already, decided which home you want to build and you're kind of off to the races? Maybe you're looking at color selections, making design changes, or maybe you've done your site evaluation. You've met our stakeout superintendent out there and you got questions about that. Or maybe you are in construction and things are, or hey, maybe the house is done. You want to come tell us and other folks what a fantastic experience it was, or ask any questions. You're probably sitting outside enjoying a hot coffee right now. If I knew, maybe some hot cocoa. I think it's a brisk 102, 103 degrees in most of the state right now. So just beautiful, just really pretty. Hopefully you're not bouncing around an attic of one of our homes right now. That would be miserable.
Ooh, no.
So shout out to the warranty folks that are out there getting it. Shout out to construction guys. Stay hydrated. Wear hats, wear shade, wear sunscreen, do all that kind of stuff. But anyway, Dawn,
and keep in mind if you are under construction, please have some patience with our subcontractors. This is the time of year where you may see that they stop working in the middle of the day.
2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's hot.
Yeah, they may shut down. It's okay.
Yeah, they're gonna come back when it's cooler. But
yeah, in October.
No, before then. But yeah, so today we are going to be talking about one of the things that makes Tilson so different from the other custom builders that you may be speaking to who build on your land. And we're going to talk about our EasyBuy financing program. So many of you, this may actually be your first time watching in Tilson Live, because this is kind of one of those topics that really appeals to people who haven't quite started the process yet. So let us know if you're a first-time viewer, because we love to welcome you. But we do have a lot of people who are joining in with us, so let's say howdy to some of them.
Jump in and say howdy to them. Y'all guys jump in, ask questions.
We got Diana. She actually got here before we did. Okay. She is building a San Gabriel C in Coryell County.
Diana, I got to say, you scared me. I was talking about some political things with Dawn, and we're pretty good about being apolitical on this show. We're pretty agnostic with regards to politics, and I was having some not so agnostic thoughts with Dawn about some things, and we saw your comment come through. I'm like, oh man, are we live?
Yeah, you scared him. I'm like, no, we're not live. We're not live.
Thank you, Diana. Keep me on my toes. I appreciate it.
But Diana is sharing that Hunter has been great.
Oh, very cool. That's actually who we were talking about.
We've written
Different
Hunter. We got Chris. He is watching from Fort Worth, building the Wimberley at Hills Above.
Awesome, Chris. Yeah, welcome back, man.
Getting
Good to have you
floors this
again.
time. All right, he's going to use floors. That's great.
Very cool.
We've got Renee. We'll build in Republic Grand Ranch at some point. Have built with Tilson before. Nothing
cool.
like a new home that you can customize.
Agreed. Thank you, Renee.
We have got Shelby watching and considering building in Lexington, Texas.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, we love Lee County. That's a great spot.
Yeah. We've got Michelle. Hey, guys, watching from Canyon Lake, planning on building in Spring Branch, a commute into San Antonio. So we were trying to get closer to work without moving to the big city.
Spring Branch, a great spot and growing nicely. Beautiful place. 281, that whole corridor up to Johnson City, Blanco. It does all go all the way to Burnett, but that's a little bit of a commute. So.
Yeah, just a little bit. We got Rebecca watching from Fort Worth, but wanting to build on land, looking to get started soon.
Very cool, welcome. Rebecca. Thanks for joining.
We've got Brian. Howdy from Cleburne. First time joining and looking for build on my land builder. 100%.
Hey, thanks for the vulnerability, Brian. So you're going to learn a lot here. Hang in there with us. This is a great one for you to join in on because while it may seem kind of ho-hum, like the whole financing bridge, like how the thing gets paid for, that's a big deal. So
yes. And it is very different than if you've built in a subdivision before.
Yes. Great point.
Heather is coming in from Denison, Texas. It is our dream to build a house and shop. We're looking for land. Awesome.
Beautiful.
We've got Susan, who is watching from the Mojave Desert and building a Travis A in Fort Bend County. The sheetrock is in, and the brick will be on this next week if the weather cooperates.
You should be fine with the weather.
Yeah, it should be nice and dry.
Look, not to be one-upped, but it may very well be hotter in the Mojave Desert than it is here. It ain't much, but it might actually be hotter in the Mojave Desert than it is here. So thank you, Susan, for always humbling us. I can always use it. So thank you.
All right. We've got Tim, who is from SoCal, eventually building in ranches at Hamilton Ridge.
Oh, very pretty. Yeah.
Susan is asking us, question, what is the final walkthrough process? Thanks. We love Tilson Tuesday. So much good info.
Yep. So the walkthrough is going to, it's really more appropriately called, it's kind of a two deal. One is a homeowner orientation. So we are going to walk you through like, hey, here's how you program the thermostats. Here's your appliances and how they work. Here's how you change your media filter in the attic. Here's your exterior hose bibs. Here's how to winterize those because it will get cold again eventually. Here's, so all kind of all the systems of the home, your breaker box, how arc faults work, why there's arc faults, there's between arc fault and ground fault, how to reset those. So we walk you through all those. If you have any kind of like solid wood floors of any kind or hardwood floors, we'll walk you through proper care of those. So that's the walkthrough homeowner orientation part. And then there's also, some of that might be, hey, I was noticing this over here. I was noticing this little touch up here, and kind of the lay of the land of what else needs to be done, if anything. Ideally, the house is complete or at least almost complete by the time that happens. Sometimes it's on scheduling. I know you're in the Mojave Desert, so we may have to do some timing things where you can get into town. But that's really what it is. It's both a homeowner orientation and then kind of a final, these are the last kind of 2 or 3 or 8 little items we see that need to be fixed or touched up. Here's what the status of those are. Do you have any questions? And then we lay out from that. After that is when you will hear from our closing department and find out exactly when and where the closing will take place, which title company, what time the appointment, all that kind of good stuff. The last stuff with mortgage company. So that's what the walkthrough process looks like.
Awesome. All right, we've got Gabriella, who is looking for land in Mansfield, Texas.
Oh, nice. Okay, very cool.
We got Rebecca wanting to build near Stephenville.
Yeah, it's pretty.
We've got Stephen from Euless, consider building in Lake Ridge at Joe Pool Lake.
All right. Well, we got office in Waxahachie, not far away. And we have office in Midlothian, which is really close. Yeah. Delete this comment.
We got Matt showing off. He's in Oregon, 64 degrees outside. Feels like 64 degrees outside.
Oh,
not fair. Not fair.
Matt. Well, you know what? It's still Oregon.
We've got Jennifer sharing that she has her stakeout tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. We got Jenna. She's in Reno. First time joining, 100% new to the process. Interested in Tilson since my parents have a Tilson home in Harris County, and we're interested in moving to Harris County as well. Awesome.
So you're not 100% new. I mean, you've been doing what your parents told you to do for a long time, right? Like this isn't new. This is just the next right thing to do. So glad you're here. You're going to learn some things.
All right, and then we have Christine. She has a few questions. We are in the race for a customized Fayetteville. We're hoping for the soil sample this week at Lake Fork. What is the timeline to breaking ground? Also, please explain how you figure the credit for 50 feet of water line.
Please clarify what the
Last, please
$10,000
clarify.
allowance
Yeah,
includes.
what the $10,000 allowance for site prep includes. Does it exclude the slab? Thank you for these.
Okay, well, I haven't fielded them all yet. I could fumble one, but let's start here. Soil sample this week. Okay, so you've already had your site evaluation that has to be done in order for you to order the soil sample. So we'll do the geotechnical investigation, which is what that is, and then we wait for that to come back, which means what I don't know is if you've signed your plans yet or not. That's a really important step as well. You have to sign the plans, and after the plans are signed, that's when we will order the engineer foundation design. And so now, good news is the same company, at least the same overarching parent company, does both the geotechnical investigation and the engineer foundation design. So it's MLA Labs, which who does the geotech, and MLAW Engineering, which is who does the engineer foundation designs. Mm-hmm. They'll design the foundation. We will send the foundation design and your stakeout out for bid to dirt contractor and foundation contractors. Okay. So, and that I'm going to answer I'm going to do the first question and last question because they go together. Okay. So the last part of the question was, what is the $10,000 in site prep includes? Now, the guy, she's asking specific about North Texas. In our North Texas counties, we include $10,000 towards your site preparation. All right. So we're going to go out and get a bid for a dirt pad. If that dirt pad comes in, less than that allowance amount, then it's all included and paid for. It covers up to $10,000 of site preparation, excavation, dirt pad work. That's what it's for. Okay. That is included. So that's what the $10,000 is for. And it is exclusive of the slab. Yes. So there's already a portion of the slab price included in the base price of your Fayetteville home in that county. That's already included up to a certain amount of engineering. So they have a certain depth that we've already calculated in, a certain width for the beam, certain cable spacing, certain PSI of concrete. All that stuff is taken consideration. Again, it covers about 80% of what we've seen historically in that county. That's what we've put into the base price. If your engineer says, hey, I want hard points, or I want deeper beams or wider beams or more cables or something like that, or maybe just a barrier beam along one side of it, that might be additional, but the $10,000 is totally separate apart from that. It is strictly for excavation and dirt work. And again, that's a North Texas thing. Okay, so hopefully that's time frame. I don't know if you're in a subdivision or not. You're probably still looking at least 2 months or so after the soil test gets done. Again, that's assuming we have your final loan approval. So commitment letter is done, appraisal's complete. We get your septic and building permit, whatever's applied, ACC approval. And then engineer foundation design, all those things. And I don't know if we have to have one to get the other. Like in some areas, we have to have that engineer foundation design to obtain the permit or to obtain ACC approval. Not everywhere, but some places we do. Okay. And then lastly, 50 feet of water line. Actually, your sales consultant will figure it out because it does vary by county. It's not the same price across the whole state because it doesn't cost the same to get it done across the whole state. So your sales consultant can tell you exactly what the credit would be for that. But what she's asking, folks, is that we include 50 feet of water line and electrical line in the base price of every home. And it sounds like Christine here is going to be taking care of their own water line, or whoever's doing their water is going to be taking care of it. So in that case, we would credit you back the 50 feet of water line, and your sales consultant can give you an exact price for that. So if all that other stuff's done, you're probably looking at less than 2 months of getting started, maybe a month. But your salesperson can give you a better idea about that because they can look at the slot board and look at kind of when jobs are coming out in that county.
Okay, perfect.
Hope that answers the questions.
Yeah. And then we've got Shelby has 2 questions, and after this we'll start on the financing conversation. But are the plumbers able to be chosen by us, or do we have to use who is chosen by you guys? Next, are there closing costs that are due at closing, or are they included in the $3,000 earnest money?
Okay, there's actually 3 questions, Shelby, but I'll allow it. Okay, so I'll give her the first one because it's really one question.
It's really one, yeah.
And so, yeah, to answer your question, so we have negotiated rates with the plumbers that we're using in your area. Now, is that to say that we absolutely cannot use someone else? No, it's not. It does mean they're going to have to do it for the price that we pay. we're not going to pay any extra. She get cut on my semantics. We're not going to pay additional, right? So they may do it for that price, they may not. Obviously, we'd want to see some of their work. But we'd also want to see, they have to have a license, they have to have insurance, all that kind of stuff that is required by law. They would have to meet and honor our warranty. So we need to see a couple of things. I'm not going to say automatic yes. I'm not going to say automatic no. That's going to actually ultimately be up to the vice president of construction in that area. We're always looking for good contractors, so we're not opposed to checking out somebody new. But we have some pretty specific ways we want things done, and we've got a very specific way that we pay that. And so as long as they go along with all that, it's not to say that we absolutely could not use them. So that answers the first two questions. I'll answer the bonus question for free. And I'm going to answer it in two parts. I know. Look, this is the 1 hour a week that I get to do this. So first of all, I want to redefine something, and I want to be clear about it. The $3,000 we require is actually not earnest money. It is a deposit on closing costs. I'm answering it that way, again, not to get technical, but because you asked about the closing. So it is a $3,000 non-refundable deposit towards your closing costs. Okay. Earnest money is different. Earnest money, you can insure and get it back. That's like a resale real estate transaction. That's what earnest money. If you're going to buy a new home or a resale, one of those used stinky homes that no one likes, if you're going to buy one of those, except your house that you're selling, of course, everyone likes that one.
Yes, everyone loves that one.
Everyone loves that one, especially Zillow. So if when you go, that's earnest money. So you would go put down, typically it's about 1%. So if the house is $400,000, you put down $4,000 in earnest money, saying, hey, I'm earnestly interested in this home, so much so that I am willing to put up this $4,000 in conjunction with the contract I'm offering for you to take it off of the market temporarily. But you can back that earnest money up with, oh gosh, I've gone blank. So much for having a real estate license. Anyway, you can back that money up. You can insure it. Someone wants to jump in to help me out with that. I've got completely blank on how you do that. But you can back that money up for like $50 or $100 and get that money back. But it's held in escrow. That's not ours. Ours is a non-refundable deposit. So that is paying for work that we're going to be doing. We're going to be drawing plans. We're going to be doing a site evaluation. We're going to be doing we're going to be spending money on trucks and employees and time and things like that we can't recoup. So it is a deposit. It is non-refundable only if we don't build the home. If we build the home and go all the way through construction, which we do 90% of the time, 85% of the time, most of the time, then that money does go towards your closing cost. I don't know that it will cover all of your closing costs, and John will go into that a little bit here in a minute. Probably not. Typically, your closing costs through most mortgage companies, and again, it's up to the mortgage company, not up to us. We don't have closing costs; they're associated with us. That's whatever mortgage company you do, and it's about 3% of the loan amount. So, if your loan amount's $400,000, you're looking at about $12,000 in closing option fee. Shelby gets it. Hey, give Shelby a hat or something. Shelby gets the hookup. She gets it. It is the option fee. Shelby, send us a PM. We got a T-shirt or something coming for you for helping me out with something I should know because I'm licensed. So there's
to answer your question.
To answer your own question. You know what, Shelby? We're going to send you a link to jump on the restream. You're going to do this for us. So anyway, hopes that answered all that. But guys, keep asking the questions. These are great questions. This is very important stuff. Especially you new folks, ask questions about building on your land. Anything needs to be done. Yes, you can have $3,000 back. Got you. I got you covered. How about a coffee cup?
Shelby fits in well here.
Yeah, she does. We're getting along great. All right, so Dawn, let's get started on the present. Guys, we're going to get now. Dawn, it's a little bit different format. She's going to give you some ground rules. Dawn's got rules. Okay, and when Dawn lays down rules, we're not playing games, folks. All the rules. So we got rules. We're going to lay those out, but do ask your questions.
All right. So the rules on this one, usually we stop throughout the presentation to answer questions, but this presentation has some math in it. And in case you haven't noticed, Eric and I are both easily distracted. And if you distract us in the middle of doing math, we got to start all over again, and then we'll never get out of here. So for this one, we are actually going to go through the entire presentation. So keep putting your questions in. We are going to come back and we'll answer every single one. But we are not going to stop in the presentation because it is a very linear thought process. So we want to make sure we get all the way through it, and then we'll
It's fairly short. It's fairly short.
It is short. But it is a lot of the questions also will probably get answered as we go on if they're specific to the financing.
Okay. And I'm going to sit over here in color while you do that.
Okay.
So
All right. So, like I mentioned at the start, Tilson, the way we do financing is very different than other builders. And so we say a lot, hey, there's no construction loan. But then most people, if you haven't built a custom home on your property before, you might not even understand exactly what a construction loan is and how it's different from a mortgage. So the first thing I wanted to do is make sure that we kind of do explain that and set the stage of what a construction loan is. Again, this is what's different about Tilson is we don't make you get one. In order to build your home, but all of the other custom builders to build a home on your land are going to require you to get one. So it's important to understand what that is. So what that means is that the home builder is asking you to pay the cost for the home to cover the construction. So they're asking for you to go to a bank and get a loan, and then that money would be paid to the builder in order to get your home built. So what a construction loan is, it's considered a short-term loan, and it has a higher interest rate because it's short-term. The bank's only loaning you the money for, it's not a 30-year mortgage. It's a shorter period of time, so they're going to do it at a higher rate. So it's generally about 1% to 2% higher than whatever the conventional mortgage rate is. That's happening. They are going to require hard equity in the project, and generally it's about 20%. So they're going to want 20% of the value of the home that you're building in order for you to start. It's going to, if you have a loan on your property, and that value is the property plus the house. If you have a loan on your land and you have not paid it off already, whatever amount is still on there is going to roll into your construction loan. So it becomes one loan at that point, and that would be your first draw would be paying off your land loan. It's traditionally 12 to 18 months in duration, but they have been increased lately because construction takes longer. So some of them will go as far as 18 to 24. It's just going to depend on your terms with the lender. And how it works is the lender pays out the money in stages as the work on the home progresses. So when you go under contract and they get ready to begin your home, the builder is going to say, hey, I need the money to pour the foundation. The bank's going to strike a check for that amount of money. And when the foundation's done, they're going to be great, time for framing. They're going to then cut a check for framing and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and this is a reminder that this is what Tilson does not typically
and Tilson does not do this. And so here's what's going to happen. Interest is going to accrue. I mentioned that the money is being paid out in increments, and interest is going to accrue on however much has been paid out to the builder as time goes on. And that is going to increase over time. And generally how construction loans work is some of them are going to ask you to pay interest only throughout construction. Some of them are going to advertise themselves as, no payments. And the terms on that is that you're not going to pay anything during construction, but all of that interest is still accruing. So what they're going to do is add all of the interest into your final mortgage, and then you can pay interest on that interest for 30 years. And then it's still going to have all other costs associated with the loan, which are going to be things like origination fees, title, closing, everything Eric was mentioning when we were talking about before. And usually that's about 3% of the loan amount. And that is just for the construction loan. You will have that 3% again when it's time to close on your home and have your mortgage. So that's a whole separate process. So this is the privilege of borrowing the money. So what does Tilson do? We don't require our customers to borrow money for the construction of their home. We fund it entirely at no additional cost to you. So we're using our financial power to go ahead and pay for the construction. We're not asking you to borrow any money from a bank or anyone else. We've got the ability to cover the construction on our own. And that is, in a nutshell, what the EasyBuy program is when we talk about EasyBuy. So what does that mean to you? We skipped a slide, Eric. Oh. What it means, why that's such a big deal is it means most buyers are able to build their homes sooner. And by sooner, we mean with less equity. And for less total expense than with other builders, because there's no construction loan or associated cost or fees with that. You're not making any monthly payments during your construction. If you're a qualified buyer, there's no down payment at all. We simply require 10% equity versus the 20% that a construction lender is going to be looking for. So it's lower, and you just have more money in your pocket. Plus, there's just that peace of mind in knowing that we're financially secure enough to pay for the homes that we have under construction, that we're not asking you to go get qualified for a bank and borrow that money to then be paid for us. You're not on the hook for money that is being given to us.
Right. We're taking an entire entity kind of out of the transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
okay. All right. Are you ready for math?
Mathematics.
All right. So for our example family, we're going to trying to keep it kind of simple. We're going to say that the home price is $400,000 and the land price is $75,000. That makes the total value of the home, because it is home plus land, because once you put a home on it, they're a package deal. That total value is going to be $475,000. In reality, that total value is going to come from a third-party appraiser. We're going to have somebody confirm that the home is worth that much. But just to keep this example simple, we're going to assume that everything is worth what you paid for it. So our total value is $475,000, and this family has paid $50,000 on their land. Remember that they bought for $75,000, so that land is not paid off. In Tilson's EasyBuy program, since the total value of the home is going to be $475,000, you would need the 10% equity, which is $47,500. Since you've already paid $50,000 on your land, you've got that, so you're not going to need a down payment. You're just going to put down that $3,000 deposit that we were talking about earlier, and that is going to be credited back to you at closing. On the construction loan side, same house, same land, same situation. So we've got a total value of $475,000. You're going to need 20% equity, which is $95,000. So since you've paid in $50,000, you're going to need to come up with $45,000 more in cash. Possibly this will come back to you at closing. It's just going to depend upon how you've worked it out with your lender and what your mortgage requirements are. So that's going to bring your total loan amount to $380,000. 3% of that is going to go into those fees that we talked about. So that's $11,400. And that's just the cost of borrowing money. So it is gone forever. You're going to pay that money out, and it's gone. So your total cash to start is going to be $56,400. And then whatever builder you chose to go with, who you're making you do this, whatever they make you put down as a deposit. All right, so to know the true cost of the construction loan, we need to calculate the interest. As a reminder, this is not what's going on with Tilson, because this is, quite frankly, the scariest thing I've ever read about a loan product. To calculate the interest, we kind of were looking around about how do you do that? Because it really is impossible, because like I was saying, that money is paid out as we go along, and the interest is accruing on whatever is paid out. So the duration and the amount of money being borrowed at any point is kind of unknown. So this is what constructionloancenter.com has to say about it. During construction, a construction loan's payments are based on the loan amount actually drawn. It is therefore difficult, if not impossible, to accurately estimate what the payments will actually be, as the loan amount is subject to change at any one time. So this is how they say what a good approximation would be. So this is how we're going to guess. You take 70% of the loan amount, use a simple interest calculator to figure out the monthly payments, and then multiply that by 12 to get the approximate interest rate. So the math on that is, if we take 70% of 380, it's going to be $266,000. We're going to take that by 9% interest, because we're about 2% higher than the mortgage rate currently. So that's going to be $23,940 in interest that, again, either gone forever because you're paying it during construction, or added to your final mortgage where it accrues more interest. So total being paid money that you're never going to see again is that $23,940 in interest and your $11,400 in fees, which is a total of $35,340. And then you still also have that additional $45,000 that you had to put in down payment, and whatever the builder deposit is tied up as far as your cash goes. So all of that money is out of pocket. So comparison, pretty simple. If you went with Tilson and used our EasyBuy program, your total cash out of pocket is your $3,000 deposit that you're getting back at closing. On the construction loan side, you've got the over $35,000 in interest and fees. That is gone, and you're never getting that back. Plus your $45,000 that is tied up. So that's a total of $80,340 in cash that you've put out, compared to our $3,000. So just a little bit.
Significant.
Yeah.
That's almost the price of a new pickup truck. Used to be.
That's sad. That makes me sad.
I know that my heart hurts for you for that. Now,
All right.
hopefully that makes sense to folks. Now, obviously, that was a lot of information. We know. Look, here's the other thing we have and are prepared to do. If you have specific questions about your situation, you can use round numbers if you like. You don't have to give us your financial information, but we are prepared to kind of help you work through equity, right? Because we do require a 10% equity position. We can help you how you figure that out. We are prepared to handle debt to income ratios. We can talk, credit score requirements. We can talk, payments, all that kind of good stuff. If you got questions about those things, how does it work? I still owe this much on my land. Can I get started? Do I have to wait till it's paid off? I have a mobile home on the property. Like, we deal with all of this stuff, guys, every day. This is what we do. It's what we're here to talk to you about. And we got plenty of time. I was checking.
Yes.
That's what I did. There was nothing else coming through. I'm not used to the Apple. I'm trying the Apple Watch. It's a Father's Day gift. And it's actually, no, it was a birthday gift. I forgot. They're very close together. So I don't know. I've got things about it I like and things about it I definitely don't like being notified about. But
you could probably turn it off.
We're working through that. Yes. Every time one comes on, I'm like, yep, don't want to know that anymore. How do I turn that off? Yep, don't want to know that anymore. How do I turn that off? All right. So I know we have some other questions that we want to go back and answer. We also missed Clayton Clark mentioned he's howdy from May early in the process.
Yeah, Clayton's howdy from May early in the process. John completed the stakeout and we're excited to get things going. That's awesome.
Well, so are we, Clayton. So thank you. Oops.
And then we have Jenna asking, does Tilson build completely custom floor plans, such as one brought by the home buyer, or only allow customizations of the floor plans offered?
Okay, so here's what we recommend doing in a case. The answer is yes, we will. Obviously, we have a wheelhouse that we're really good at. There are things outside our wheelhouse that we might be able to do it, but we can't do it at scale. So we choose to not do that. So if you bring us like a glass and concrete Frank Lloyd Wright looking thing, or a full-on Mediterranean Spanish or Italian villa, that's probably not us, right? 7,000-8,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet, probably not us. A house 20 feet in the air on pilings, we've done it, but presently not us.
Or a basement 10 feet underground.
Yeah, so that's not us. Now, what we like to do is take a look at the plan, and first and foremost decide, hey, is this something we can execute very well for this customer? If you've been to our website, Jenna, you've seen our plans. If it's something similar to that, 1,500 to 4,000 square feet. That's maybe some different 9 to 10 to 12 foot plate heights, and not a lot of curves. Things like that. Yeah, you're probably good. We don't do, butted glass, things like that. We're not going to do, but so what we'd like to do is take a look at it, make an appointment, first of all, at the nearest design center. And what we're probably going to do to start with is use one of our plans that's close in square footage. It may not be close in floor plan necessarily, but it may be close in floor plan, but close in square footage, and at least start ballparking it for you. Say, okay, it's this many square feet of living area, this many square feet of covered porch, this many square feet of garage, has this lineal feet of cabinet. This linear feet of cabinets, countertops, all the way through, kind of what type of plumbing fixtures, light fixtures are you looking at? And at least be able to say, hey, are we even in the ballpark? The San Jacinto, if it were done like this, it would cost you X. Is that a budget that is somewhere in where you wanted to be? Way lower than you want to be? Or, whoa, gosh, no, we're way beyond what I thought we were going to be. And then we kind of go from there. It's really case by case, but there's certainly some things that are well within our wheelhouse and things that are absolutely not.
Okay. Makes sense. Stephen is asking, is there a driveway allowance for planned communities?
For some, there are, Stephen. For some, there are. So I don't know specifically which one you do, but for sure, for Republic Grand Ranch, Texas Grand Ranch, some of the cities or municipalities in which we build, we do include driveway if they require two-car off-street parking. But certainly not in every single planned community. Not every single subdivision has the driveway allowance included, because again, we don't know how far off the road we're going to be, how wide you want, how much of an apron you want in front of the garage. So that's a great question, and depending on which one, it might.
Okay, makes sense. Polly is asking, when it comes time to close, who initiates that part of it? When the house is finished, we are not finished yet. Just inquiring.
Yep. So you'll definitely hear from the builder about scheduling the walk. You'll also hear from our closing team, Polly. So either Michelle or Laurie, most likely, maybe Amanda, some of those others. You'll get a call from them to start setting that up. Obviously, it depends on if it's a loan transaction or cash transaction. I think yours switched, if I recall correctly. So we won't be waiting on the lender to talk to them. It'll just be with our closing team. But if you want to, we can certainly have Michelle or Laurie. Yeah, she's doing the walkthrough tomorrow.
Yeah,
Right?
tomorrow.
So probably after that, they usually wait to hear from the builder. Hey, what all resulted from the walkthrough? Is it just a little bit short list, no big deal, or is it a very exhaustive list? And that'll kind of judge the timing on it, and based on how, what Garrett's able to schedule his team. Like, hey, I think I'm about 6 days out, or 2 weeks out, or 2.5 weeks out, and then he'll kind of give them a timeline and give you a timeline, of course, and they kind of stays there calling out from that point.
Okay.
I do have a question. Miss Silcox down there, she said her salesperson wasn't able to answer her question on her 50 feet of
okay.
water line. He says he couldn't explain it. It was way down.
Yes, I'm looking.
She said it's the came in at 210, right after Jennifer Randall's stakeout tomorrow, right before that, actually.
Yeah. So please explain how you.
Okay. So in Wood County, I went and looked it up just for you. So it's now what I didn't look, I need to double check, make sure we're not doing a water well. If we're doing a water well, we're doing it. It's not an option. We're doing the water line. So hopefully, you're not on a well. I was going to check that. No, it's public water. Yeah, public water. Yeah. It's like 131 feet of it, if I see that right. And you're taking care of all of it. So in that case, we would credit you back. In Wood County, the credit is $225 for the 50 feet of water line that's included in the base price, and that includes also the shutoff valve. So whoever's running that water line, they would be doing the entirety of the water line, and then we recommend doing a shutoff valve. I like it outside, in the ground with a little, screw top that you can get down to and cut it off. So just a shutoff valve, like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Quarter turn, 9-degree valve. $225 credit is what it would be if we are not doing your 50 feet of water line in Wood County.
Yeah. Okay.
On June 20th, 2023. Mark it.
All right. We have a question from YouTube. Are there any plans that come with a garage?
Dawn.
So every plan has a garage designed that you can pick. So it's not necessarily in the base, it's not going to be in the base price that you see on our website, but there is a garage option pre-designed that we can give you pricing with. Just call us, let us know which one you want, because in most of our plans have more than one way of doing a garage. We do have a handful of plans where the garage is so incorporated into the floor plan that it is part of the base plan. Thinking off the top of my head, that's the Fredericksburg, the Breckenridge, the LaSalle, the Wimberley, and the Rockwall.
Golly, that's really good.
So those all have the garage integrated with them, because it gets a little wonky if we try to take the garage out. So those are the ones if you want to be looking at a home that already has a garage attached to it. If those work for you, great. The garage already is in those base prices, but I would encourage you to look at all the other plans too, because most of them have at least 3 options that we've pre-designed for a garage. Some of them, like the Barton Springs, have 5 options. And honestly, we can also work with you to add it on where we want. We can do it detached. So that's, the options that you have there. And then Matt is asking, what is Tilson's preferred method for constructing waterproofing a shower? Wetty, curdy, dry packed mortar bed, hot mop, liquid waterproofing membrane, etc.
Okay, you've got about all of them there. You missed Schluter. There's some different systems there. Yeah, there's a lot. So I'm gonna answer your question anyway, Matt. Even though it's 64 degrees and feels like 64 where you are, we're gonna help you anyway. Everybody throwing shade on Matt for being comfortable sitting on his back porch looking at mountains, probably, or the Pacific Ocean. Whatever. Who likes that? All right. So in your options here, the closest thing we would call it would be the dry packed mortar bed. That's how we're going to do the shower. And then obviously, but beneath that, before we put the mortar bed in, is would be they do make pretty board. They sure do. God, all over it. This guy has been on it.
Matt, is this what you do, or are you just really into waterproofing showers?
He got to the end of the internet, and there we were. That's like the very bottom of the internet. Like, well, I guess we'll start with these guys. Before we do that, we do the rubber. I call it like an elephant hide, but it's a big, thick rubber liner that goes in. There's no seams in it. It's a seamless liner that goes into the shower bed. This is what this means.
Yeah, this universal symbol for liner.
Yeah, so you got your drain that goes in, needs to be properly installed, of course, and then the liner is done, and it goes up about 18 inches or so up the walls and is attached, and then the mortar bed goes in to that sloped to the drain, obviously, and so typically if we're doing a seat on a shower, it's going to go in after that. So we would go ahead and do the mortar bed and all that and slope it to the drain. And then when the tile setters come out to put the tile in the shower pan, they would do the seat at that time. So, but yeah, that's how we do it. We've done it all, man. We've done some. The other systems they're very, very good systems. They're very expensive, and they kind of limit you on size. And if they don't limit you on size, there's a lot of waste, and also I don't like cutting them. I don't the systems that are set up that way, they have seams and they have the tape and the mastic and different things that you use to seal them up, and they do work. I just don't like it in a rural, uncontrolled environment out in the middle of nowhere. I really, really like how we do that. Oh, and the walls, we're going to use a cement fiberboard walls. I used to say Hardy Backer, but we are allowed to use any. Because Hardy quit making it. So we have to get what we can get. But yeah, we like that. We don't use the green sheetrock or anything like that anymore. It's all a cementitious fiberboard backer for all behind your tubs and shower pans. And yeah, I like it. I like you can do any size you want to. You're not limited. I like the custom tile size. It's a great look. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the packed mortar bed and the liner and the tile. It's pretty, it's clean.
Awesome. We got Lisa. Sharon, we've loved our Tilson home since January and are wanting to add gutters, rain catchment system. Would this affect our warranty in any way? Will we be using a licensed contractor?
Okay. So it doesn't affect the warranty unless you don't drain it properly. So the homeowner is responsible. Lisa, great question. Because in the warranty, the homeowner does have some responsibilities. And some of those homeowner responsibilities are we have to make sure that when we leave, that water drained away from that house a minimum of 10 feet. It is the homeowner's job to maintain that. That means if you add landscaping, pool, outbuilding, gutters, you have to make sure that the water still goes away. So all I recommend is where the downspouts come down, if they're going to a rain catchment system, no problem. As long as they're not pooling water in spots around the foundation. What we don't want is for water to be pooling up on one part of the foundation where it's dry, 30 feet away from it. So either downspouts that go out through like the little black corrugated 4-inch pipe that you can get at your big box store or McCoy's Building Supply. But if you do rain catchment, same thing. They're going to a rain barrel. It's not going into the ground. We're fine like that. What I don't like the gutters going down to the splash block. You still have the big wet spot right there. It just is a spread out wet spot, but it's still a wet spot. So drain it away, dig the deal or run the pipe on top of your rock if that's what you have, and then put little rocks on top of it. And it's your Xeriscape. Actually, we got rock, you probably have a huge problem. But anyway, that's rain catchment, no problem. A lot of folks do it. In some places, it's the most affordable way you can get water. Okay.
And then Christine is asking, do the interior walls have any insulation or sound dampening?
Okay. Yeah. So Christine, great question. They do not. You can add it to them. You could add spray foam to those interior walls if you want to. We don't. So I'm particular about this. Dawn knows. She's like, oh my gosh.
Do you want to draw? Do you need me to bring up your drawing?
I can draw. Yeah, we can go draw. Oh, look at that. Eric was doodling.
Yes.
So we'll move that out of the way. All right. So this is going to be an overhead view of an interior or exterior wall for that matter. So you're going to have your toe plate. So this is the 2x4 that's laid down on the concrete. And then you'll have a stud every 16 inches, right? So these are studs. All right, so this would just be a regular wall, and what Christine's at, let's say it's an interior wall. Let's say this is your family room here, and this is your master here, right? So what she's asking is, hey, do you insulate these interior walls? And the answer is we don't do it standard, and I have reasons why. You can, and it'll help a little. The problem is sound. Let's presume it's coming from this direction because, well, it will be. So let's say the sound is coming from here, right? You got a sound wave coming this way, and the insulation will help, but that sound is going to travel through the stud and still get through to the master, right? So there are some sound attenuation boards you can do. They're 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick. We can look into those as an option. Another option, and I saw this on a house that we did, is we do the same interior wall. Actually, what we did was erase that. That was bad, Dawn. That was terrible.
Okay.
That was bad. I want to do over. Okay, so let's say instead we do it instead of a 2x4 interior wall, we do a 2x6 interior wall. So instead of this, we're going to have this, and what we're going to do here is we're going to offset our studs so that they're not touching the walls.
Okay.
So we can offset these studs such that, again, they're not touching the walls. They're still structurally sound, hold everything up just fine, right? But the sound is not, and then you can insulate all of that. This is insulation, obviously, to scale. So you insulate all that, and now when your sound waves are coming through, they are deadened much more than they would have been if the studs were still touching. So what I'm saying all that to say, Christine, so you don't spend money for the sake of spending money. We want it to be done right. So if you spend the money and what you're after is some type of sound attenuation, sound dampering, then I recommend a method like this. You lose another 1.5 inches in one room or the other, 2 inches in one room or the other. But this is going to have a much better effect than just insulating between the studs. And then if it's really important to you, you might even add some of that sound attenuation board to it. In addition to that, you do those, and that's going to be about as good as you could get from without going full on like, hey, this is a law firm and we need a soundproof conference room or a recording studio kind of thing. So hopefully that helps answer your question some.
Okay, makes sense. All right, and we've got Matt thanking you for the explanation on all the waterproofing. And then we have Anne joining us. Hey, from Rockport, Lamar will be closing next week. That's awesome.
Very cool. Yes.
Very exciting.
Anne and Eric. I met them.
Very exciting. And that is the last comment that I see right now.
Well, how about that? All right, folks. So we will give a last call for questions. Again, we can answer anything you want to talk about financing, about construction, about design, about utilities. I think we've touched on just about everything today. Septic, well, mortgages, rates, what we're seeing. So we can answer all those. We have a last call for those. Dawn, what's happening in Waco, Texas? Is anything worth going to see in Waco, Texas?
So our models are almost completely finished, guys. So we are very excited. We are in kind of that stage that Polly was talking about, that we're almost done. We have done our punch list. We have actually moved in some furniture, so you can kind of check out our staging is underway and the furniture is being placed in, and they're doing landscaping. So super excited. They should be ready for prime time in the next couple weeks. And then we're looking to do a grand opening celebration. I hope you guys can join us probably the first week of August if everything.
Yeah, we decided it's not hot enough yet. We want to get this a little hotter.
Just want to be a little bit hotter. So yeah, super exciting. And then we also have the Polidoro is coming along in San Marcos. It is now sheetrocked. So that's also very exciting. And then we have like to be announced fun stuff happening in Angleton.
Yeah.
And then let's see, we did have a question come through from YouTube. If we're paying cash, what's the process like? Do we give half, and when do we give the half?
I think I'm writing it down correctly.
Oh, he's writing. Okay.
So on a cash deal, first of all, there's a 2% discount on the base price of the home.
Mm-hmm.
You get that. In addition to that, there are no closing costs. That's something else to think about. The closing costs we mentioned before, because those are with the lender, right? Obviously, there's a lender involved. There's no closing costs, so you're saving that money as well. It's not coming off the price of the house or anything, but it's real money that you are not paying.
Right.
So those examples that Dawn had, where it was about 3% of you're not going to have to pay that.
Awesome.
In the cash transaction, we take 35% of the contract amount right before we start construction. So basically, once we've done your stakeout, we've got the permitting, the ACC approval or POA approval, you've picked your colors, we've got the engineer foundation, all that back. And we're saying, hey, great news, we're ready to start construction, get you released to construction. All we need is 35% to start that. So we take 35% there. The reason for the 2% discount is, like we talked about with our construction loans, so we're funding it on the EasyBuy. Mm-hmm. On a cash transaction, we give you the discount because we're using your money to build the home instead of ours. I hope that makes sense. So
makes sense.
We would take 35% before we start construction. You give us that 35%. We then immediately take another 15% at slab pour. So basically, there's right at half. We take 15% whenever the frame is complete. Another 15%. Actually, that's not true. This was wrong. I remember now. This is at sheetrock. At sheetrock, and then another 15% when the plumbing trims are in, and then we don't get the last 5% until the house is finished and you've done your walkthrough and you're all happy camper. So that's how a cash transaction works.
Okay, awesome. And then we have a question from Viviana. Can land be owned by one person and still build in another person's name?
Okay. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. So typically whoever owns the land, though, does have to be on the contract. You can have co-buyers that aren't necessarily on the loan or on the contract necessarily, but you typically, whoever owns the land does have to be on the contract. In other words, mm-hmm. we have to have their permission because it's being built on their land. So there's no other way to do that except for them to join the contract. The other option would be that they could deed the land or a portion of the land over to whoever's going to be building the home, or basically just whoever's going to be building the home can join that person as the buyer or co-buyer or whatever. So let's say person A owns the land, but they don't necessarily, they're not interested in being on the loan or can't qualify by themselves. Person B, who's not on the land, can join them on the loan and on the contract and all the paperwork to help pay for almost like a co-buyer situation.
Okay.
But the person who owns the land is for sure going to have to be on the contract, or they're going to have to not own the land anymore. So if it's enough acreage and the area you're building will allow for this, they're not going to make you replat. You can subdivide out. So let's say they have 4 acres or 10 acres. Maybe they can deed you off 2 to 5 acres or something and say, okay, this 2 acres or 3 acres or whatever is now yours. So you do whatever it is what you want to with it. Don't do that until you've checked with your county first or city and make sure they're not going to have you replat it, because that's very possible. Particularly less than 10 acres.
All right. We've got Jenna asking, if we already have land secured and paid off fully, we'd be taking out a mortgage for the home. How long do you estimate for construction if the home is 1,500 to 2,000 square feet? 18 months-ish?
No, not that long. So I do like the emphasis, though, too, Don. That was very good. So, no, it wouldn't take that long. I don't know exactly where it does vary a little bit on where, but actually construction, you're probably looking at 225 to 275 days, just depending on weather. So that's 7 to 9 months of actual construction. Then the upfront paperwork part is probably more like 4 months, depending on where you're building, 4 months or so. So really total time, I'd say about a year, maybe 14 months on a house that size, probably on the lower end, probably 12 months total time. That's not all construction. A lot of that is, like I said, design, paperwork, permitting, soil test, septic designs, geotechnical investigations, engineer foundation design, permitting, and then construction.
Okay, perfect. Then we've got Andrew from YouTube coming in late. Where's the best place to see some models?
Well, I tried today.
David's helping him.
David Pagan.
One place you can go is where this David is, which is the Katy office off of I-10. But Andrew, we have 12 offices throughout the state of Texas, all of which have at least one model that you can tour. Most have more than that. Most have two. But you're welcome to go and see it. And it's really, we're kind of on the outsides of it. Now Wendy's chiming in. So we've got Spring, we've got Katy. We can see who else is watching. But we're also in Angleton, Bernie, Huntsville, Waxahachie, Waco, Weatherford, McKinney, San Marcos, and Georgetown. And who's going to be mad at me? Who did I forget? Did I forget anybody?
I wasn't. Yeah,
you weren't paying attention. If I forgot you,
I
love you all
but I wasn't
equally.
counting. Drawing.
We have locations throughout the state where you can go. So it's really just whichever one's closest to you. Brian, I forgot Brian.
God's country.
Yes. So you can go and visit them. Do recommend calling our online sales team first and making an appointment to make sure there's somebody who can speak with you. But you're welcome to go visit any of them, whichever one's closest to you.
And do check them out. We built them for you. I mean,
yes,
that's what they're there for.
And there's no repeats, so every model is unique. So you can some people do the whole tour. Stephen is asking, how long do you have to own the land before you can use equity? According to city tax value, it increased $85,000 over the past year. Well, congratulations. That was an excellent investment.
Yeah. And here in Texas, it's like, congratulations.
Until the tax bill comes.
Now pay. Yeah. So there's not really a time limit, Stephen. So, they're going to do an appraisal, like Don was saying earlier. The whatever lender you choose is going to do an as-built appraisal. So they're going to, which is what the city has done. They've appraised it. It's not the same kind or the same one, but a licensed Trek appraiser is going to do an appraisal as if that home were built today, what it would sell for. So they'll collect, comps, comparable sales, closings that have happened over the last 6 months, and they'll say, hey, if that house were to sell today, this is what it would sell for based on these 6 comps in the area, and so that you don't. I mean, come on, There's no reason to wait.
Awesome. Rebecca is asking, do you work with VA veteran financing?
We do. Yeah, we sure do. We do a lot of that, especially in the Hill Country area where you got around San Antonio, where you've got all the military installations. You got Randolph Brooks Air Force Base. You got Lackland. You got Fort Sam Houston, Camp Mabry up in Austin. So a lot of veterans that retire out to the Hill Country area take advantage of those benefits. And yeah, we do VA financing all the time. Okay. It's not always the best deal. So just be open-minded when you go in. I know that is an entitlement, and by God, you are entitled to it. It is truly that, and you are entitled to. But there could be other options that long-term financially might be a better deal. They may not, but they might be. For sure, if you're a 100% disabled veteran, it's going to be really hard to beat because you're not going to pay property taxes, and there's a lot of other deductions that you're going to get. But if it's not 100% VA, it might not be the best financial deal long term. It could be, but there are some fees associated with VA financing that have to be paid.
Okay. All right. Stuart's asking, if we are doing septic by Tilson, if something goes wrong, is that something we look to Tilson to fix, or are we left looking to the septic installer?
Oh, say left as if we just abandoned you, Stuart. Okay, so hopefully that's not what we've done. Doubt it. So the answer is definitely call us for the first 2 years. First 2 years, it's really you're going to initially sign a 2-year maintenance agreement. That has to be that state law. So anywhere in Texas, you put a new septic system in, a 2-year maintenance agreement is required by state law. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to still call us. If something were going wrong with the septic system, I'm going to walk out to my septic system. I'm going to open the little door on the septic system. There's going to be the septic guy's name on there. That's who I'm calling. If that person won't call me back or is refusing to do something, I'm definitely calling Tilson. But go ahead and call us. Give us a courtesy call so that we have record of it for sure. I wouldn't probably be our first call, And Christy and warranty may be saying, "Oh, Eric, you idiot." No, we're always the first call. And if that's the case, you're welcome to correct me. But if I'm having a problem, I want to talk to the guy or gal who's going to fix it. So, but do give Tilson at least a courtesy call or notify our warranty info team, warrantyinfo@tilsonhome.com, so that we at least have record of it. So we can, if you start having trouble getting a hold of somebody, we can put some pressure on there, and some leverage to help you out a little bit. But there's nothing wrong. I mean, we're not picking just any geek off the street septic installer. These are squared away operations that are not fly by night, and they have the wherewithal to, and they know that we're going to hold them accountable to servicing our customers. So they know if they ignore you, they're going to get calls or visits from us, because most of them we just drop by and say, "Hey, how are things?
How's it going?
How's your phone working? Just double checking, making sure we're so good."
Awesome. And Wendy wanted to share that they have 50 years of combined experience in spring. So they're a good one to visit. And Stuart says, "Thank you for the septic advice."
You're very welcome. Okay, so folks, like Don mentioned, we got 12 locations across the state. We got some advertising here. We're open 7 days a week to answer all your questions. We got a website, award-winning website, open 24/7. You can customize the plans, show where all the garages go. You want front load, you want side load, you want alternate side load. That's the real reason we don't draw the garage on there, because we have no idea how you're going to need to enter your house. So play with all of that stuff, your cathedral ceilings, your porches, colors, all that stuff's on the website. And then obviously we have the new home specialists on standby. You can call them 7 days a week, ask high level questions, get questions answered, make appointments. That's what we're here for. The models are there for you to tour. That's why we built them. So go check them out. Look at room sizes. Sit down on the couch. Sit down on the couches, please. That's what somebody's got to
Nobody ever does.
Somebody's got to use these things. I'm going to start taking naps on random couches around the state. Just
that'd be a fun game for the summer.
Find
Eric.
Where's Eric? But no, do that. I mean, obviously we have a YouTube channel that's got, so much content information that Dawn and her team worked so hard to put there. You can get almost every question answered there as well. We've got to be pushing 200 videos at this point. Close.
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah. Okay. So we got that. We got the Waco office that you can go see. It's all done. You got the Paladuro coming along strong in San Marcos. So folks, that's what we're here for. Ask us your questions. It doesn't have to end here. We have a website. We got a Facebook page. We got an Instagram channel. There's TikTokery going on that I don't participate in. So there's all kinds of places you can engage with us and ask questions and make sure that you're getting your questions answered, and to make sure that you make the right decision for your family, folks. And that's what this is all about. So we want to help you fulfill that vision. We want to get you out there, living an independent lifestyle on your land, building the home you want, where you want. That's why we do this. So until next time, we genuinely hope soon to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.